Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. Autumn has officially started here on my channel. Guys, before I actually go straight into the epoxy resin and the Jesmonite, I'm actually going to do some old school. We're going back in time. We're going back to the beginning of Claire's Crafty Corner, where my channel started nearly 5 years ago, and that was with home DIY and home decor, upcycling furniture and things like that. That's where I started nearly 5 years ago. And I've been longing to get my hands dirty with some paint and just old-fashioned messy crafting, and that is where this video was born. I hope you really love it, because guys, this is about as easy as it gets to just create some really easy, simple DIY decor pieces for your house for autumn stroke fall, whatever it is you call it. And I'm sorry if you're in the southern hemisphere, I know you're just coming into summer now, so you could always, you know, change it up, alternate it a bit to suit whatever season it is you're in. I hope you love it as much as I loved creating it. I do use a Cricut in this video, but you do not need a Cricut, guys. You can do it by hand, do some handwriting, or you can use your Microsoft Word and print out your letters, and I will talk more about that in the video. I hope you love it. So this piece here is what has inspired me to make my own wood block signs. This was actually a gift from Crafty by Tony, one of my friends here on YouTube. We met up way before COVID, and that was a gift. I thought it was beautiful. So I'm out here in my workshop. Guys, please ignore the mess. It is absolutely shocking. I've not done any wood turning at all this summer. Hardly been out here at all. I've got this huge bag of wood offcuts. Now, my dad gave me this around 2 years ago, and I honestly didn't know what I was going to do with them. You know, I do believe most of them are like pine offcuts around 2x3s or 2x2.5s. So I chose a selected kind of group of wooden blocks that would really work for what I had in mind. Now, I didn't use all of these because the first thing I need to do is sand them. I'm going to use my Bosch Orbital sander. Other sanders are available, but it was after doing this, guys, I realised I really need a sanding belt. There is no doubt about it. That is on my list of things I absolutely must have, because I'm telling you now, I enjoyed this project so much. I feel like I now need to go through that entire bag of wood, get every single piece of that wood sanded down, and just make so many more signs. And I cannot do that with an orbital sander. I cannot. I just sanded all the edges, all the corners, just to give them a nice, smooth, rounded off finish. I didn't go too crazy, because who's got time for that? Nobody. I am here in my Cricut design space. Now, there's a couple of ways I did this. I looked through images. I looked through what's the other one you can look through? Phrases. There's a section on here that's called phrases, and there's a section called images. I typed things in like hello pumpkin and then autumn vibes and things like this. Now, here is where it gets a little bit tricky, because again, like I've mentioned in previous videos, this is an American app. So there's very little on here to do with autumn, which is where you have to create your own images using the text. So the first thing I saw was Hello Autumn. That was already a preset SVG design on the Cricut design space. I grabbed it. Next up, I wanted Cozy. I typed in Cozy, C-O-S-Y. There was 2 things on there. I was like, wait. How am I 45 years old realizing today that America spell cozy with a Z? Who knew? You guys obviously did. I didn't. So I'm sitting there like, wait, there's no way Cricut Design Space has just got 2 things for cozy. But, you know, if you are in America and you spell it with a Z, guys, you've got hundreds of files to choose from. If you want it spelt the British way like I did, there's just 2. So I did have to create my own. Now you are wondering at this point, why has she reversed them? Guys, because in my head, I'm still using my heat plate. I'm still using my iron-on transfer vinyl. So ignore the fact that I flipped them. I did realise right at the last minute to flip them back around normally, because this is craft vinyl we are using. I am actually using permanent Cricut black gloss craft vinyl. So we do not need to flip anything. And yes, I know that you can also flip your words when you get to the cutting section of your Cricut. But anyway, okay, moving on. We're going for really autumnal colours. I was trying to dig through all of my paints to get those burnt umbers, those yellow ochres, and all of those orangey vibe paints. I'm also going to try some wood stain. So this is walnut wood stain. Other stains are available. I absolutely love walnut wood stain. Whenever I have seen, and I say America, I'm blaming America, American crafting channels, guys, the walnut stain is pretty much the only stain I have ever seen when I'm watching people create wood. Anything with wood, it's always the walnut. And that is what made me fall in love with this shade. And I bought this a few years ago. It's lasted really, really well. So walnut it is. So yeah, I'm blaming you guys in America for that. So thank you. It really is the most beautiful, warmest tone for a stain for wood, I think, when you're creating home DIY pieces. I actually only used the stain on one block of wood because I just wanted to see how it went on. It was so much easier when you're putting stain on to go with the grain, but these end grain off cut sections here, these cross grain, whatever you call it, I'm not going to pretend I know my wood. It was a lot harder to get it on, so you could always use a sponge as well. Typically with wood stain, you would brush it on and rub it off with a cloth. I didn't even bother doing that, guys. I just brushed it on and left it to dry because ain't nobody got time for that. Like I said, I should change my channel name to The Lazy Crafter, but one day I'll get there. Putting my lid back on because I'm a good girl, and cleaning up my spaces. Now, next up, I'm using my cheap acrylic paint. The acrylic paint I showed you at the beginning was actually gesso. I decided not to use that because that's super thick, white, heavy gesso. It wasn't really gonna work for me, so I'm using a super cheap, I think this is from The Works, like you can see it there, it's £2. The blue stain is just blue stain, but yeah, super cheap white acrylic paint. We don't have the huge selection of chalk paints that you guys have in America. And I'll be honest, like whenever I watch a craft program from America, it's always like chalk paint, chalk paint, chalk paint. We do not have that here. We can't get little bottles of chalk paint from our pound shops. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. If we can, please tell me in the comment section down below, but we can't usually get that here. So my go-to paint is just cheap acrylics, if I'm honest. I used a combination of like burnt umber and, like I said, yellow ochre, some oranges in there as well, mixed in with the white to just create the shades that I want. So again, if you are recreating this for whichever season, guys, you know I'm going to have to do this for Halloween. Come on now. Black and white together, even like a much more brighter orange for the Halloween. Okay, listen. I don't know if you can tell. This is where my heart truly comes alive. This is where I feel the most relaxed. I feel the most free when I'm doing this kind of crafting. Now, I'll be honest, I absolutely love epoxy resin and Jesmonite, but when I'm just doing old school, back to it, really easy, basic DIYs, creating something from nothing, love it, absolutely love it. So yeah, I just know already I'm going to be doing this for Halloween, and I'm also going to be making some Christmas ones as well, because you saw that bag of wood that I've got, honestly. So as you can see on screen, I am using a kitchen sponge. Kitchen sponge I would fully recommend for doing things like this. You do not have to be a good painter like I'm not. Just slap the paint on, get the kitchen sponge and rub it all over. The sponge does all the work. So what I was going for here was like a kind of ombre gradient with orange in the centers and then fading out to a lighter shade of orange around the outsides. Then I'm just using some brown cheap acrylic paint to dapple the outsides, so the edges, I'm just giving them this, you can see what I'm doing. I don't need to fully explain. I'm just giving them some definition. Each block is going to have some definition. Now, I am not planning on gluing these blocks together so that you can actually move them around. You know, the top one could be at an angle, the bottom one could be at an angle. It gives you a little bit more artistic freedom to put them in places where you want. They could be side by side. You do not have to glue these pieces together, and I did not glue any of these pieces together at all. I thought about it, and thought, nah, no, it gives me more freedom to just let them be individual blocks, and then I can place them where I want them to be. So next up, we have gone more of a yellowy tone with orange around the outsides and a bit more yellow in the center. Really, really love them. I went a bit heavier on the outsides with the black. I introduced some more black into that just to really bring it out. What I didn't want these to fall into the Halloween trap. I didn't want these to be bright orange, you know, that Halloween orange. I really still wanted to keep them within the autumn feels, the autumn vibes. And with the outsides of these, I actually painted them all brown. Once I got into the swing of things, I ended up feeling quite relaxed about getting the faces done so that they're cohesive with each other, they work with each other, and then the outsides can just be done afterwards. I really wasn't fussed, but I'm loving this wood stain. The next thing for me to do is to cover up the edges with the masking tape again. This is masking tape, this is frog tape. Other brands are available, but I do find this tape the best on the market. I mean, pound shop masking tape does not do it for me, guys. If it works for you, brilliant. But here I am just putting a white face on this block of wood because I really feel like that white against the walnut is going to work beautifully. This is a whole 3 hours later. I made sure that absolutely everything was dry. The beautiful thing about using acrylic paint, and I guess chalk paint, it dries super quickly. I saved you all the pain of watching me weed. We all know it's not my favourite thing to do, but I have to say one thing. I've never been a big fan of Cricut vinyl, but this Cricut vinyl in particular, it was okay. The black gloss Cricut vinyl, it weeded quite well. Now you can see here, I am scraping and scraping and scraping. Obviously, transferring Cricut vinyl is also not as easy for me as other vinyls I've used. So if this was in real time, it would be way longer, but I've sped it right up. Hello, pumpkin. I love it so much. I love it, guys. I absolutely love it. Listen, any inspiration you ever need, if you're ever sitting there thinking, oh, I don't feel inspired, guys, Pinterest. If you do not have Pinterest app on your phone, get it right this second. Your life will be forever changed. I'm talking inspiration for every single aspect of your daily waking, walking life. Okay? Anything you type into Pinterest, trust me, it will be there. Okay? Anything. So clothing inspiration, DIY wooden sign inspiration, bedroom colour inspiration, anything you need, garden inspiration, it's all there on Pinterest. So honestly, I spend hours on Pinterest just looking for inspiration for things like this. You cannot go wrong. So if you do not have it, why not get it? I'm not sponsored by them. Imagine if I was. I'd love it. Guys, I'm loving these so much, and I'm just sad I only made 4. The reason I only made 4 is the sanding. I had enough. I was out in the garden, obviously, because, you know, sawdust, and after 4, I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. But I put all the rest of the wooden blocks back in the bag for a later date. I am loving these so much. I hope you are too, and I hope you can see how easy these are. Now listen, you do not need a Cricut. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you do not need a Cricut. You can type these words out. This font here is called, not this font here, this is an actual SVG from the Cricut, but this font here is called the Skinny. I heard about this from Tony. I downloaded this from Da Font. That is a website that you can download free fonts, but remember, you cannot sell them on. Okay, so if you sell things like this, just make sure that you class it as the font is free. The vinyl is free. Now, Cozy Vibes Only, that font is called Baby Darling. That is one of my favourite fonts. And come on, Baby Darling, how beautiful is that? That is also downloaded from Da Font. So Hello Pumpkin and Cozy Vibes Only, that is Baby Darling font, downloaded from Da Font. That means you can get it on your laptop. You don't need a Cricut. You can get it on your laptop. You can print that out via Microsoft Word, and then you can actually either 2 things, print it off in reverse and then trace it onto your wood, or just cut the paper out, stick the paper onto your wood, help it blend in using paint colours around the sides and things like that. Okay, so autumn vibes, like I said, skinny font is the name. And then Hello Pumpkin and Cozy Vibes Only is Baby Darling. So if you do want to recreate something like this and you do not have a Cricut, you do not need a Cricut. You can just type those fonts into DeFont, download them onto your laptop, use them in Microsoft Word, and you have got yourself a recreation without the need of any Cricut or any vinyl. Guys, I am in love. I have put together this display. Everything you see on screen I made myself. The fabric pumpkins is a video on my channel. I will link it here. The concrete cement pumpkins are also a video on my channel, and I will link them here. So everything you see on screen, apart from the pine cones, I'm not that clever, you know what I mean? Apart from the pine cones, everything you see on screen right now, I made by hand, and the videos are on my channel. So I'm in love. Do I use the word obsessed? I think it would be silly not to, because I think that's almost expected now that I use the word obsessed, utterly obsessed. I've done this voiceover all in one go without even pausing, because the last video had a real big error with the voiceover. I still don't know what I did wrong, because I listened to it back and it was absolutely fine. But again, sorry for that. I hope you are here despite, you know, kind of only following me for the resin and Jesmonite. I hope you've found this inspiring, and I hope you've really enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed getting back to where I used to be and just having fun with paint. Really simple wooden blocks. If you don't have wooden blocks, guys, you can buy 2x3, 3x2 from the hardware store, you know, B&Q or Wix, and just chop it down. I know I make it sound easier, but it's not honestly that difficult. I was lucky I was given a bag of wood. So yeah, I hope you've loved it as much as I have, and I'm still super high because I just want to make more now. But I do need a sanding belt, so I am off to go buy a sanding belt. Any recommendations, put it in the description box below. I'm not pressing pause on this voiceover. I'm not doing it again. This is a one take voiceover. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Oh, even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.